You know, there's an old adage that if something is too much fun, it's probably illegal. And unfortunately, emotos fit into that category. Even though a lot of people ride these things on public roadways, if you look at the fine print, almost all of them are sold exclusively as off-road vehicles. Now, it seems like due to their bike-like appearance, the pretty minimal noise level due to the electric motors, people do get away with riding these things on public roads, but it's really only a matter of time before that begins to catch up with you. For example, in my area, these things are becoming way more popular, especially the Talaria XXX. That one in particular I've been seeing a lot. And just the other day, for the first time, I saw one of these bikes being impounded. Now, I don't know the entire details behind that situation. All I know is I saw a XXX being loaded on a tow truck. So the question I want to discuss here is how can we make these things street legal, or at least improve your odds of being able to ride these on the roads without any problems. We're going to go through some of your best options in this video, but I do need to just say that this is not legal or financial advice. I'm just sharing some research, thoughts, and opinions. But okay, option one here is to actually make these things street legal. We're talking registration, insurance, everything needed to make these things a motorcycle or a moped. And on this point, I just came across this really excellent post on Reddit where a guy walked you through the steps he took to make his Ultra B street legal. I will leave this link below the video if you guys want to check it out. But essentially what he says here is that when he purchased the bike, he talked to the manufacturer and he made sure to get the proper documentation, DOT approved parts, and a VIN number. So for the documentation, we're talking some kind of a title or an MCO. And this is key because once you have the bike and you take it to the DMV, you're gonna need this documentation. And on top of that, the bike needs to have a VIN number straight out of the factory with DOT parts. We're talking blinkers, a brake light, even the tires need to be DOT approved. And all of this is best done when purchasing the bike initially. Then once you have the bike, you need to take it to your local DMV. And here, even if you follow the previous steps, you do have to get lucky and talk to the right person at the DMV that is understanding of your situation and what you're trying to do. And this is because these bikes, at the end of the day, are imported from China. And thus, it's unconventional, it's an unusual situation, and I've seen reports that some people say that even though their bike had the proper documentation, blinkers, and all the other DOT parts, they were still unable to register their bike. So this can be very hit or miss, that's just the sad reality, but eventually if you are persistent, people have got it done. And then the final major step is the insurance. You need to get some kind of insurance on the vehicle. And just like with the DMV, this can also be hit or miss. It is very likely that the bike you're trying to register, again, because you imported it, that it's not in their system. But again, here, if you are persistent and you call around a few different companies, you talk to different agents, eventually there is a likelihood that you will find somebody that will provide you insurance for the vehicle. And that's step one. That's how you can officially register these things to be street legal and ride these things on public roads. Definitely a hassle, but some vehicles that I've seen people do this with most often is the Surron Ultra B and the new XQi3. But still, there are no guarantees, and also just depending on where you live could impact all these equations. Now, option two of trying to unofficially ride these things on the streets is the pathway of stealth. And here I found one of the biggest factors is the size of the vehicle. Essentially, the smaller the emoto, the less noise it makes and the slower it goes, the less threatening it is to public safety, and thus your odds of successfully riding on the street appear to go up. But again, that's just my personal observations. Now, luckily, the mini emoto category has been really expanding in optionality lately, and I'm going to be making a full video going over all the best mini emotos very shortly on the channel. So if you guys want to see that, make sure to subscribe. But really quick, one example here is the Surron Hyper B. That's literally a kid's bike, but you can see, even though it's small, inconspicuous, it does share a lot of the DNA and thus deliver a pretty comfortable riding experience to something like this. It does have less power, but still way more than a regular e-bike, and being about half the size of something like this, I would be a lot more comfortable riding it on the street, at least, in some situations. And then your third and really final option here is to install some kind of functioning pedal kit on your e-moto. The problem here is compatibility. Only some bikes have even the option to do this with third-party aftermarket accessories. But if you do find a good kit that's compatible with your bike, it could be a solid solution. Just as long as you don't ride the bike super fast, you keep it at e-bike speeds, and you don't ride it like a motorcycle. But essentially, those are your 3 best options, in my opinion, if you want to ride these super fun e-motos on public roadways. You can officially register the bike. If you do this, it really begins when you purchase the bike. You have to make sure you get the proper documentation. It has the proper DOT parts, and even then, it still involves a good amount of luck when talking to agents at both the DMV and insurance companies. And then option 2 and 3 are quasi solutions of just having a super stealth small bike or installing pedals and trying to call this a regular e-bike. Now, I will say I am trying to get my hands on the new XQi3. And if I do, I will make a video showing you guys the entire process of at least trying to register it and making it a fully, officially street legal e-moto. So definitely stay tuned for that. And if you guys have any firsthand experience with doing this yourself, definitely let us know what your approach and solution was in the comments below. And with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.